The following interview segment was taken from Talking Wealth on flix.net. That's FLIXX.net. Talking Wealth is brought to you by Wealth Within and presented by Dale Gillham and Janine Cox. To watch a full episode, go to flix.net and click on Talking Wealth under the business and finance sections. Or for more information, visit wealthwithin.com.au. Eric Brotman, welcome back to Talking Wealth. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Dale. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. I really enjoyed our last chat. You're so easy to talk to, but more than that, you've got so much of fantastic information. So I'm sure that our viewers are going to get a lot out of today's chat. I'm not sure about you, Eric, but I tend to have several books on the go at the same time, and I think it drives my wife crazy that I keep doing that. I just find I like to learn something and allow it really time to embed and if necessary, go over those parts again. And that's how I read books, because to me, it's not just about reading a book, it's about getting the essence of what the book is. Now, the other day, I was actually grazing through your book, Don't Retire, Graduate, and I actually went back to the start and I actually read the page, or page 10, which is titled The Author's Purpose. And I thought, well, I really want to know why you wrote the book and everything. And so I thought it was really great because you set out why you do what you do and what you're actually trying to get people to do at the book. But at the bottom of the page, it really did set out what you wanted people to get out of your book. And I really love those 3 points that you had on the book. And the first one was to reframe the concept of retirement from one of a retreat to one of advancement, psychologically and socially. Now, that statement alone just really intrigued me because I find that's a real different sort of approach that a certified financial planner has. A lot of planners don't have that sort of approach, but it really did intrigue me. Can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by this?
I would love to. I actually think that retirement, in the sense that we grew up thinking about and that people plan for the day they start getting their first job, I actually think it's sort of a tragic ending to a life well lived. I really do. Retirement is taking all of your intelligence, wisdom, experience, and your entire life, your entire vitae, your entire career, and basically saying, well, that's over now. Now I'm going to watch daytime TV and sit around until I die. It makes no sense to me. You are at the top of your game. So to me, retirement is about reaching financial independence. It's having enough money that you're only doing what you love because you love it. And it's not the absence of work, Dale. It's the absence of needing to work that matters. So I think it's unhealthy for people to disappear. I think it's incredibly healthy for people to reach financial independence. Whether they're 45 or 75 when they get there is up to them. And that's what we help them do as planners. But in terms of the actual psychology of it and the social aspect of it, it's not good to check out. That's no way to spend what could be a third of your life.
Yeah, look, I totally understand that. And I know a lot of people, when they do retire, I think what's the average time that they live after they retire, like 5 or 6 years or something like that? I can't remember what it is, but it's not long.
Well, it's much longer now, actually.
Is it?
It's interesting. Yeah, historically, folks retired at 65 and they were dead at 72. But now folks are living to 100. And so if you could spend 30 years beyond your full-time paycheck, you better have something to do. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I take a vacation longer than 2 weeks, I'm climbing the walls looking for a project.
Yep. I'm always trying to do something. To me, people say to me, when are you going to retire? And I said, I think that was about 25 years ago. But I'm still trying to work out the details at the moment. But you are right. It's about doing what you want to do, not because you have to do it. And, I've often said to people, I don't have to do what I do. I can just retire and go do what I like. But I actually like what I do. And if I wasn't doing this, I'd still be doing something in my retirement, whether that is more volunteering work or doing other stuff, but I'd still be doing something that's productive, that keeps my mind going. But I also like to achieve things too, and I think that's really something that drives me. I like to do new things and achieve things and keeping my brain active. But I just really love the way you phrased it all, and I think people do give up when they retire. It's like, okay, give up. And I actually said that to a friend of mine a few weeks back to his wife, and I said, has he just given up? And she goes, no, I don't think so. And I said, yeah, he has. He's just given up. And I'm thinking, why? There's so many things you can do and so many things you can achieve in this life past retirement, whatever that is for you. And you are right, you've got a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience that you can help other people to really, be better, do better, help society. There's a whole range of things that you can do and get active with, rather than just sitting on the couch and watching television.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And making sure that you have more than a bucket list. It is not enough to list 4 or 5 things or places you want to see before you die, because if you have a rich, full life, you can live into your 80s and 90s and beyond. And as long as you've maintained your health, and some of that is luck, but a lot of it's behavior, as long as you've maintained your health, there's nothing you can't do at that stage of your life. In fact, I had a guest on my podcast who helped her mom finish a book that she was writing. There were 100 things she wanted to do in her life, and she was 93 when she wrote it. 90, and she did them all. And she went skydiving, for crying out loud. Like, we're not talking about an idle existence. And whether it's that you're still working and making money doing something you love, or you're consulting, or you're teaching, or you're coaching or mentoring, or whether you're volunteering, or whether you're just spending time with grandkids and great grandkids, it still needs to be enriching somehow.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, I've always been I don't say I'm a goal setter, but I'm not necessarily a goal setter, if that makes sense. I don't often sit down and write all my goals out, but I always have goals in mind, or things I want to achieve and things I want to do. And one of them, on the weekend, I actually got my learner's license to ride a motorcycle, which I'd always thought, oh, maybe one day I'll do this. And, my family's always been in motorcycles, my father, my brother, everybody else, and I've never had one, but I thought, oh, I might do that and go riding with my brother, because it's something that we can do together that he really enjoys, and it'll, help us bond. We're pretty close anyway, but it's something that we can both do, and just go out for some nice casual rides and everything else. So I thought, hey, why not? So that was one of my goals, to go and do that. So I've got the first part of it. The next part, I've actually got to go and get the license and get the motorbike. So,
well, you're not going to catch me on a motorcycle. I will ride a bicycle all day, but not a motorcycle.
Yeah, I cycle all the time too. But
yeah,
we saw one of these. The reason why I'm looking at it is we saw one of these 3-wheeled motorcycles called a Can-Am Spider, which is they're made in Canada, and they're like sitting in an armchair like a little car. And it's like, so we're going to get one of those. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be an armchair motorcycle rider, not the screaming little things.
I see. All right. Well, you make sure you get goggles and a scarf. I mean, I really think that I'm picturing a very epic scene here, and I think you should make sure you get the most of it and take some action shots.
And I've got to have dramatic music behind me flowing as well.
Well, and if at all possible, shoot some of it in slow-mo. I'm just saying, I think it will be a breathtaking video.
All right, I'll do that. Oh, God.
Okay.
Number 2 on page 10, or your point number 2, I thought I'd better get back to some sanity here. It was to provide insight into gaining and maintaining financial independence. And you said that the statement a little bit earlier, which came a little bit later in your book, is retirement's the absence of needing to work, not the absence of working, that defines retirement. And I just love that sort of area. But gaining and maintaining, I think people have two issues. One is they have a problem gaining enough money in retirement. That's a big issue that I see here. But the other one I see quite common is keeping it. And I find a lot of people say, I'm really good at making money, I'm just not really good at keeping it. And that's the issue that I have. So that's why they say I can't retire, because I can't keep the money. I'd just love to get your thoughts around all of that.
Well, they're two completely different skill sets. And one of them, we spend 40 or 50 years making money and growing wealth. And then all of a sudden we're supposed to be experts on how to transition wealth building into income generation. And it's a different skill set. And it's one of the transition points where I think financial advisors make the most impact on clients, is because building a mountain chart, excuse me, building wealth is not particularly difficult math. You make X deposits for Y years, you get Z%, and you have this pot of money. The challenge is then figuring out, how do we use this? Because not every dollar is the same. Some is going to be taxed differently than others. And so it is a completely different skill set, and it's one that we've never done before. So for just about everyone, when they retire in the traditional sense, I'll put that in quotes, they suddenly have to learn how to create income. They've never had to do it before. And there's lots of ways to do it, and some are eternal, and some are more temporary. And there's some strategies that work in certain economic cycles, and others that don't. And I just don't think it's simple. And I think the math is much harder, and I think the behavior is much harder, and it creates all kinds of psychological things. Dale, people are so afraid.
Yes.
They're afraid to spend their own money. In some cases, one of the biggest fears people have of not working anymore is the idea that now if we have a loss, we can't make up for it. We can't go make more. And so you have a tendency to lose the abundance mentality that has gotten you successful and wealthy in the first place. And it's important to understand that there are strategies that can be used to preserve wealth, and even to continue to grow it, even if you're not still working. You can continue to amplify your wealth in lots of different ways, as long as you are not overspending and as long as you're not taking on risk that's not helpful.
I think a lot of people run their life through fear, fear of making the wrong decision, or through fear of making a mistake, fear of loss. And it really does hold them back. And I think it was a few weeks ago, somebody said to me, Dale, what would happen if you lost all your money? And I said, I'd just get it all back again. And they go, how? And I go, because it's all in here. It doesn't matter whether it's in my bank account. And if I retire and I need more money, there's always something I can do to make more money. So it's that wealth mentality, or sorry, that abundance mentality that you mentioned is really critical, I think, for people, because we do have different stages of life, different stages of our career, which is pretty much the third point that you talk about on that page, is about, wealth building during different stages of your career. And this is why I suggest people should read your book, because it really will help them understand the different things people need to do at different stages of their life, so that they can get to the end to that retirement age, whatever that is for those people, but get there at a point where you've determined you need to be at. It's not just, you don't fall over the line, if that makes sense. I find a lot of people work however long, they get to that 65 or whatever the retirement age is, and then they just fall over the line and go, okay, well, I've got a government pension, that's enough. And they use the government pension as a retirement strategy, where to me it's just a safety net. It's not a retirement strategy. Is it the same in the US?
Yes, 100%. In fact, in the US, Social Security, which is that government pension idea, Social Security was created at a point in time where it was designed for the extreme wealthy as an emergency safety net. And it has, over the years, become something very different. And mostly it's become different because of people's behavior and because of longevity. So what was supposed to be only for the extreme elderly is available to folks now as early as 62. I don't know about you, but 62 doesn't sound extreme elderly to me.
No.
And so maybe I'm old enough that 62 doesn't sound old. 30 years ago, 62 sounded old. But it has changed into something very, very different. It was meant to be a safety net for the very, very elderly and those who were essentially destitute. And now it's become a political hot potato. The political parties like to argue about it. It is a third rail. Going after it is immediate. You might as well immediately resign from public office, because as soon as you try and change it in any way, you're enemy number one. And it's a very, very challenging situation. I could fix it mathematically in a day, but I couldn't win an election that way. In other words, as long as I'm not running for office, which I'm not ever, as long as I'm not running for office, I could fix these problems, because I don't have to be popular. I just have to do the math. The math isn't hard. The politics is hard.
Yeah, look, I agree. And there's a lot of things that have come up, over the last sort of 4 years or so with the Trump administration, and obviously there's still things around with the Biden administration as well. But I find a lot of the politicians are doing things to be popular so they get voted, rather than what's actually the right thing to do. Now, it's not just in terms of retirement benefits, but there's lots of different areas. So they don't want to rock the boat. But I often find people are making decisions from a selfish point of view, not what's best for everybody. That's the other thing that I quite often see around, especially around election time, But I agree with you, retirement benefits are something that are just a safety net, that are there just if you haven't saved enough and done your job through your life. And that's why I try and teach our students, and that is, you are responsible for your retirement, nobody else. The government's not. You're not. The government doesn't owe you anything. Yes, you've paid taxes all your life, but it doesn't give you a right for anything other than being over and above any other citizen in the country. So, and it's about looking after yourself so that you retire on the lifestyle that you wish to retire on. And so, as I said, I think people should be reading your book and really getting those essential lessons that you're teaching them through the book. And as I said, I was flicking through it again the other day and reading chunks of your chapters, because that's how I read sometimes, just chunk here, chunk here, and chunk here. And I love what you're talking about. So I hope people listening to you today go out there and buy your book. But Eric Brotman, I've really enjoyed our chat today. Now, before we go, can you please just tell everybody where they can find out about you and get that book of yours?
Absolutely. The book is available at Amazon.com or any place you buy books. And you can also go to BrotmanMedia.com and learn all about the publishing that we've done, the podcast. We just finished, literally a few days ago, filming the online course for Don't Retire, Graduate. So shortly, the freshman year of the Don't Retire, Graduate curriculum will be out in an online course format. And it's already a book and a workbook, and it's a path to financial freedom for anyone who's ready to take it.
Fantastic. That sounds like a good thing for people to get into. Eric Brotman, again, thanks for being on Talking Wealth, and we look forward to having you back chatting with us again sometime soon. Take care, mate.
You too. Thanks, Dale. Anytime.
For more information on our guest in today's episode, visit the link on screen right now. For more Talking Wealth, visit flix.net and click on Talking Wealth under the Business and Finance section. That's flixx.net. Or visit wealthwithin.com.au, where we have hundreds of informational videos, live shows and Talking Wealth podcasts. Talking Wealth was voted number 3 in stock market podcasts globally in 2018 by FeedSpot. For more information on our courses, visit wealthwithin.com.au.